Welcome in everybody to the KC Sports Report. I'm your host Michael Darcy, and today I'm joined by Michael Hebner, and we're going to break down the Week 11 matchup between the Los Angeles Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs Kingdom, what a win! The Chiefs just beat the Chargers in Mexico City by a final score of 24-17. And all I have to say, Chiefs Kingdom, is the defense came up clutch and won this game. They collected 4 picks and over 3 sacks. So the defense is the MVP of this game. Daniel Sorensen, Dirty Dan, was able to pick off Phillip Rivers in the end zone that iced the game for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I could not be more happy. I did not expect this Chiefs defense to step up like they did. Michael, what do you think? Did this offense underperform, or is this defense just that good?
I think there's a lot of things. Obviously, the Chiefs' offense got off to a very slow start. I mean, Mahomes didn't even have more than 70 yards passing in the first half of the game. But the defense played fairly well in the first half, and then really obviously came through at the end. But the defense did play well. I mean, there's some important things to note about the defense, which we'll get into later. But I think just the Chargers really beat themselves. I mean, Phillip Rivers threw 4 interceptions.
That's not good.
Like straight to Chiefs. I mean, it wasn't like it was a combat like the last interception, the game-winning interception. It was literally to Daniel Sorensen. I mean, if he dropped that, it would have been on him, and Rivers would have been lucky. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's a solid win. It's huge. This has huge implications for them. I mean, Andy Reid is solid as a head coach coming out after his bye week, getting wins and all that. And this is a huge momentum builder. I mean, our defense just had a stellar performance. I mean, Tyrann Mathieu came off with an interception. He almost had 2. And he just brought a new presence to the field that I don't think that we've really seen from the Chiefs this season. Frank Clark finally has started playing his money's worth. I mean, we're starting to get what we want out of him. I don't know if his injury's better this week.
I think he is starting to feel more in his fingers, which is great news. And like you said, both of those guys are starting to earn their money, because if I had to give the MVP to somebody, it would be Frank Clark or Tyrann Mathieu. They were that good.
And Charvarius Ward also had a very solid first half. He kind of regressed a little bit in the second, but he still played fairly well. I mean, I think he had like 2 or 3 really great bat downs. I mean, he was playing like a solid lockdown corner.
Well, so did Rashad Fenton. Rashad Fenton had a pick, and he played very good man coverage. So, this secondary is coming around, and I don't think that anybody's really denying the talent that they have there. And for the most part, they did not do a bad job of stopping the run. In the beginning, they were a bit shaky, but as time wore on, Phillip Rivers just kind of shot himself in the foot by unloading deep balls down the field. And I mean, it was pretty evident that he did not have it, because those deep balls weren't even close. And I would even go as far to say that the Chiefs wouldn't have even allowed a touchdown if Daniel Sorensen didn't get called for pass interference. So the fact that they were only able to give up 1 touchdown and just field goals the rest of the way is very impressive. Even if it's only against the Chargers, I mean, for any team to shut down any team to shut down an offense, it's still impressive.
Yeah, and I mean, Sorensen, in my opinion, had a really trashy game for the most part up until that last play. I mean, obviously, had he dropped that ball and we lost the game,
it would be a completely different story.
On his fault, because I still think he needs to play better, because sure, he came up with that game-winning interception, and sure, all that matters is winning, and it doesn't matter how you get there. But we can't have sloppy play. I mean, we cannot have all the broken, busted coverages that he had. I mean, he missed a couple tackles that he should have made, and it was not the performance I would like to have seen from him. But switching gears, the offense really
didn't look good. I mean,
they did.
In the first quarter, they put up no points. In the second quarter, they went into halftime winning 10-9. I mean, we're not used to seeing that, and I think that it's pretty obvious that Mahomes just didn't have it. He actually was statistically, that was the worst game of his career. So, I mean, for Mahomes to have that kind of a game and to still put up 24 points and lead his team to victory, I mean, it just kind of shows you the player that he is. I mean, if it's any other quarterback, the Chiefs lose this game. But, I mean, that's just the Patrick Mahomes factor. And I think that this team is starting to become a more well-rounded team. This defense is starting to come around. I don't care what anybody says. The secondary is making huge strides. The middle linebackers are actually stopping the run for the most part. I mean, that front seven is lethal. Mike Pennell is coming off the bench, and he's tearing people apart.
They definitely won this game. I mean, there were some times where you could tell they were winded when they were doing 2-minute drills. Phillip Rivers was getting his guys to the line, and
Frank Clark was very winded at the end.
Oh yeah, and there were a couple guys that I thought were going to get called offsides, but obviously they didn't. But there's a couple key things too on offense. Like, we did get our entire offensive line back. Ryder came out, but there's the two injuries to running back is what's interesting. Is McCoy was being evaluated for a concussion. I don't know if anything has been produced from their evaluations, and Damian Williams has possibly a broken rib.
It appeared that he broke his rib. He got up and was holding that rib cage, so I would assume it's a broken rib, but who knows?
Yeah, both of which would mean they'd probably be out. Well, Damian Williams would probably be out for the rest of the season. Maybe, if he's lucky, come back for the playoffs, but I doubt it. And McCoy is obviously out with a concussion, so knowing how he's 30 plus years old, they're probably going to have him sit a little bit longer than normal. But that left Darrell Williams as the only running back, and I think he stepped up. I mean, he hasn't really had a starting role. He's been more of a
he's a power back.
Yeah, but even then, it's just I think he stepped up to what they needed him to do to win the game.
Oh, he did. I mean, there were times, though, that I saw this Chiefs team really struggling to move the chains. I mean, in that fourth quarter, they were basically just getting to 3rd and long. They'd run the ball, get it to 3rd and 4, and then they just have to kick, which isn't good. But, I mean, the story of this game is just the defense. I just cannot believe what I saw. I really expected the Chiefs to lose this game in the final minute. I just thought that Phillip Rivers was marching his team down the field, and I expected this Chargers team to come up clutch like they did last year and beat the Chiefs. But, I mean, this defense came up clutch. But, I mean, more importantly, why is this defense so good when the game is on the line? I mean, I know we didn't see it last week, but, I mean, in 3rd and 4th down situations, it seems like this defense gets 10 times better. And I don't know if that's statistically proven, but, I mean, with Tyrann Mathieu and Frank Clark applying that pressure, it seems like, I mean, they're pretty much a different team on 3rd and 4th downs.
Yeah, I mean, the defense did play a cleaner game, I felt, than they have the last few weeks. I mean, less penalties. I mean, there were a couple calls, but overall, I felt like there were very few penalties. Special teams played pretty great. There were a couple muffed punts by the Chargers I would have loved to have had, but they weren't pivotal or anything. But the Chiefs played an overall fairly clean game, which is one reason that they won. But I definitely do think that our defense, and I kind of am of the philosophy that I'd rather give up a ton of yardage and get you down to, I don't know, the 3-yard line, and then just prevent you from scoring a touchdown. I'll give up a field goal.
That's the bend but don't break mentality.
Exactly. I'd rather get you down to the red zone and hold you from getting that touchdown than, preventing you from getting all these yards, and then you somehow get down to the 3-yard because someone fumbled the football and now you run it in for the end zone. I'd rather prevent the touchdowns and, somehow get the win. I mean, again, you could even look at the 49ers. Their wins are not pretty, but
they just find a way to get it done as a team.
Exactly.
I mean,
and that's what we need to do.
I mean, hats off to Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo in this game. Steve Spagnuolo was able to make the defensive adjustments, in my opinion, to win this game. And Andy Reid was much better at clock management, which, I mean, ultimately led to this Chiefs team winning. So the coaching was great. The offensive performance left something to be desired. The defense, for the most part, was really good. The special teams was much better. So, I mean, this was a pretty good all-around team win. And I think that this is a great win going into the bye week that will give this Chiefs team a lot of confidence. So I think that if this Chiefs team can keep getting better every day, I mean, they're going to have to step up. This offense is probably without their 2 best running backs, so there's a hole there. The receivers looked a little bit flat. Tyreek Hill left the game with what looked like a cramp because they're playing at such a high altitude. So there are holes in that offense. But
what's interesting, though, is Hill didn't come back, which is kind of frightening, which they're saying it's a hamstring injury. So I don't think it's necessarily a cramp. But that's a little concerning that he didn't come back. Because normally if it's just a cramp, you heat it up or you go on a bike or something and turn it out and come back into the game.
I bet they probably would have brought him back, but the feel was so bad. I mean,
That is true.
every time that the Chiefs would run the ball, clumps of the field would come up, which, I mean, NFL, you got to fix that because, I mean, you got million-dollar athletes risking their lives out there. I mean, Mecole Hardman almost broke his ankle because his foot stuck in the turf. So that's not good. They got to fix that if they want to play more games in Mexico. But like I said, all around a great team win. And this is something that the Chiefs need to hang their hat on because guess what? They're going into the bye. Andy Reid is great off of byes. They got a big game coming up against the Oakland Raiders December 1st at Arrowhead Stadium. If they win this game, the Chiefs have a great shot of wrapping up this division. So this was a great win. So long from Mexico. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you guys like these videos and want to support me, go click the link in the description and go support me on my Patreon. I would more than appreciate it. Thanking Michael Hebner for joining me in this episode. Thank you, everybody, for listening to the KC Sports Report by Michael Darcy.